Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Bards Gaming Podcast. First and foremost, I just wanted to jump in here and say I apologize for the long wait time. If you're listening to this as soon as this episode comes out, it's been a few weeks, honestly, close to a month since the previous episode. Reasons being, I've just been absolutely swamped with work, doing 131-hour pay cycle, and then just college on top of that. It's been absolutely insane. So I apologize for getting this out so late. If you're listening to this long after it's been released, well, welcome back, or welcome for your first time. I wanted to say, I don't really know what the direction of this podcast is right now. I'm thinking about changing the format of some things a little bit going forward. Next episode that we're going to be doing, I believe I'm aiming it to be a Sims episode. And when we do that, it's going to be a different kind of episode. We're kind of going to, I think we're going to kind of air our grievances about the games a little bit, like we do normally. But I think what we're going to end up doing with that episode, a lot of it is talking where we wish the series would go, things that we like about it, things that we don't like about it, things that we wish they would implement or leave behind even. Whereas recent or previous episodes has kind of turned more into a review podcast. Or I guess it's been that way since the start, which I don't mind. I mean, I have fun with it, but it's just, I don't know. It's fun. I like it, but I think things are going to change a little bit going forward. The next episode will hopefully air about 2 weeks after this one goes live. Things, like I said, I've just been so crazy with my personal schedule. It's just been difficult to be able to manage the show on top of everything else in my life. So that being said, this episode I think was a really good one. This was a Kingdom Hearts episode where we talked the first game, multiple iterations of it, I guess. My special guest that was on this show is a good longtime friend of mine. His name is Carter, and he is the most knowledgeable person of this game franchise that I know. So with that being said, sit back, relax, and let me know what you think about this episode in the comments. I'm looking forward to hearing from any of you. So yeah. If you don't know where you can find us on Instagram at The Bards of Gaming. You can send me a DM over there, or you can find us on Twitter or X at 2 Bards of Gaming with the number 2. So, enjoy. Hey there, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Bards of Gaming podcast, where we do our best to raise the bar and play the games that eventually spike to be very hard. This week, we are joined by our co-host Fred, as usual, as well as a very good longtime friend of mine, my buddy Carter. How you guys doing?
I am fantastic, Rob. Thanks for asking.
I'm doing good.
Good. Glad to hear. The reason that we have a very special guest this week is because we're going to be covering a game that I know is very special to him. It is the first Kingdom Hearts game, the first of many, the first one that started it all. Yeah, I mean, I know that there's going to be a lot said about this game upcoming in this episode, but I just want to start by asking you guys, like, how did you guys get started on this game? Just to kind of get right into it, I guess.
I guess I should probably go first for this.
Yeah.
It was one of the only games I had growing up on my PlayStation 2. So it was this, or I don't know, maybe Downhill Domination or Splashdown, some type of sport game. But Kingdom Hearts is one of those games that it was like, the first JRPG that I ever played. And at that time, there was no looking it up online. It was just running around with your head cut off, trying to figure it out, and getting immersed in the world. So, I just learned to love it for being one of the only games I had, and it being as confusing as it is. It's a lot to take in at once. So, a lot of playthroughs needed.
Yeah, and I've known you for a very long time, Carter. You're one of my oldest friends, and I know that this game has been an absolute staple for a long time. Yeah, I know that this episode sounds a lot like just a straight up interview right now, and I apologize to anybody listening because I had a hard time myself getting into the mindset to start the episode. Not just so we're just going straight off the cuff and just running into it. But Fred, how about you? How did you start this game? How did you find this game? Did you play it when you were a kid, or not until you were a little older?
Well, you see, I never actually played Dark Souls, so I don't know why I'm on this podcast. This is Dark Souls, right? I didn't hear what the what's the game?
It's Elden Ring.
Oh, Elden Ring. Oh, I hate that game. Oh, it's horrible. Amazon should never make games.
Game of the year, by the way.
What?
I said game of the year, by the way.
No, but I got into Kingdom Hearts honestly. So when I first moved here from Jersey, was one of the first games that I got when I was up here with my PS2, and I was playing it through, and for the life of me, I can't remember what level it was on. I was on, but I could not beat it. I couldn't do it. I was trying so hard. I'm completely sympathize with what you were saying, Carter. So about how it's confusing and you run around like a chicken with your head cut off. So I go over to my buddy's house, who I didn't know this dude at all at the time. He was just my neighbor down the street. Never met the dude. So like the arrogant ass that I am, I go in with my swim trunks because they're having a pool party, right? And I jump in the pool and I find him and go, "Hey, which one of you guys is Alex? Can you help me beat this level in Kingdom Hearts?" Everybody stops and is just staring at me the entire time like, who is this fat kid in our pool and why is he asking about Kingdom Hearts?
That's a hell of a way to make friends.
It's pretty on brand too, so
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, I mean, after that, it was just kind of that actually made was a lifelong friendship.
That's good.
Yeah, but yeah, and then I mean, it was just one of those games where me and him would play all the time together and just kind of beat the crap out of each other and try and beat the game and then beat the crap out of each other because we couldn't beat the game. It was, it was a whole thing. It was it was traumatizing. Is what it was. But that's for another time. This isn't therapy.
No, we don't have any sponsors yet of that sort, so we'll cross that bridge. But
this podcast is sponsored by us.
Yeah, this podcast is brought to you from my wallet. So, I guess for myself, like, what?
And my sense of humor, or lack thereof.
There you go. I guess for myself, like the way that I found this game, I remember being a kid when this game first came out and seeing a lot of the commercials on TV for it at the time. And just being like amazed that, oh my gosh, there's a game that's like, it's Disney, but it's, it's so much more than that. It's like, I didn't even know what to think of it at the time. It just looked incredible, and the music for it. Just everything about this game to a kid, even, to an adult, just looked incredible. So I remember wanting to play it, and I was a Nintendo kid growing up, so I really never had the means. But, knowing Carter since I was 5, I'd watched him play it, and it was just like captivating. I didn't get the chance really to play it myself until I was a little older. But yeah, I just remember seeing the game and just being absolutely like blown away by it. And then when I was a little older, like a teenager, I bought a PS3 and I bought the Kingdom Hearts 1.5, and that's where I played it finally. And it's funny, as similarly to what you were saying, Fred, I remember bringing my PlayStation to Carter's house and saying, "Can you please help me for the love of God?"
It's one of those games where it's like it's back in the day, like it's almost like you couldn't do it on your own unless you're a psychopath or something.
Yeah, and like even with
and no disrespect to anybody who's actually beaten the game by yourself. Honestly, mad props, especially if you did it at like 12.
Oh, throw a hand up for Carter because he's done it many times.
Bravo, Carter.
The one thing that you have to keep in mind, though, is that if you played it recently, Fred, it was the 1.5. Mm-hmm. It was the final mix version.
Yeah.
The first version of that game, I mean, I still have the disc. It's rough. It's rough mechanics. There's a lot of abilities that aren't in the original compared to FX. It's different. It's a lot different.
Really?
And it's much harder. Even though you might not have, I think it has critical after proud. After you finish the game on normal difficulty, you get proud, and then in the final mix, you got the critical. I'm not sure if there's a critical plus in that game, or they might even call it proud plus. I don't really know too much.
And that's in the original PS2 game?
The original was just up to proud.
Okay.
So, you could only play it so much as a kid, it being one of the only games you had at the hardest difficulty. And, we're joking about Dark Souls, but it is kind of like one of those games. I mean, you're locking on, you're rolling, dodging. You might not have like iframes like Dark Souls is with rolling, but the first game is a slower mechanic than the others. Even the other like DS games, it's a slower mechanic, but they definitely fixed that in the final mix versions that are now out, and mainly the ones that you can buy. If you can go back and buy the original, I mean, you'll feel the difference, like just starting the game.
Now when you're saying, like, can you give some examples? Like, are you talking like when you're attacking or like moving or something, or?
Yeah. So in the beginning, when you pick out of the 3 items to choose from, the sword, the staff, and the shield, that does actually change the abilities that you get based off of your level. So I'm not exactly sure, remember what they are, but at level 15, if you picked the mage instead of the shield, it's a different ability that you would originally get. It changes the outcome of what abilities and like steps you can go based off of like the different enemies that you're going to be up against.
So that choice in the beginning of the game will change your entire play style.
Yeah, because what I would do generally is mage is the thing that I would keep, and I would take away defense because, I mean, who gets hit anymore?
Yeah, right. Definitely not me.
Says from somebody who got good.
But yeah, I mean, jokes aside, I mean, the difference is that there's a lot of abilities that are attacking moves that weren't a part of the original. It was very basic. I mean, it was kind of just, smack with a giant key, and you had some abilities, and that was it. It was kind of just dodging and using your magic correctly, and yeah. But the newer games, the newer versions of the games, at least, they give a little bit more of a common player kind of feel. Makes it a little easier, but. I think I like the story more than the mechanics of Kingdom Hearts 1. I think it's the journey, the actual journey itself, rather than, trying to survive. So.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get into a little bit of the story later on, but I wanted to go off something that you two were saying right there, and it's the difficulty of the game, to kind of transition us into the gripes that we have about the game, because if you're new to listening to this podcast, the format that I kind of try to follow with each episode is to start by saying what the game is, how we all started, how we got to know the game, and then we go into what we don't like about it, and then we finish it off with what we do like about it, and then we kind of throw in a little spoiler cast at the end and a little story recap for anybody who cares to hear about that.
Yeah. Okay.
But to go off of what you were saying about the difficulty, I would like to just point out, I have a little list, 3 items of things I don't really like about the game. And the first one I got to say is in the middle of the game, that massive difficulty spike. Because that is what brought me to bring my PlayStation to you saying, dude, fucking help.
What are you talking about? Like you're not talking like, what is it? Atlantis?
So I forget exactly where in the game or when it happens, but like say, all throughout the beginning half of the game, like Agrabah is like a 3-star difficulty area, just for example, hypothetical example. I don't remember. But then all of a sudden you go back to it after a certain turning point in the game. Now it's like a 10-star.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about too. Yeah, that makes it a hell of a lot tougher.
Yeah, the thing that grinds my gears about that particular mechanic is not even that it got more difficult, which it does. But it's that if you don't know, or if you're not prepared, you're going to be stuck doing what Carter kind of advised me to do, and it's to just grind. And, he gave me a tip of where I could do that most easily, but you're going to have to just grind the game. And that was on the 1.5 final mix. So that is what kind of grinds my gears a little about it. And, do you guys have any thoughts about that?
As far as having to grind through, or
yeah, just like the difficulty spike, or like, do you guys have any gripes about that system, or do you see how it fits well into the story, or any thoughts?
I mean,
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, it's based off of small hints that the story is giving you at the time. Very easy in this game to skip cutscene, to be honest. But in certain spots, and I'm pretty sure at the end of the world, or at World's End, there's been a couple versions of that end world in a few of these games. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember the exact name of it. But once you get to a certain point, all the worlds just upgrade, like Rob said. It's not necessarily the second playthrough or time that you go into the world, because there is multiple visits. But at some point, once you start really chasing the big bad, down to the last linear path, let's say, there is a spike, and it's purposeful because it's based off of what's happening in the story and kind of like the universe, if you want to think of it like based off of the worlds. It's just darkness is flowing through everything. There's barely any light to sustain the shadows, and it makes sense, but it's easy to accidentally get to that stage without knowing it, because you can just run into a certain spot. You can enter into, from the gummy ship, just run into a world and just be like, oh, I went too far. Let me go back.
Yeah.
Back. So there's a little bit of I think the first game has that level, skill gap, the hardest or the fastest in the story. But I personally loved it because there were a bunch of monsters that you would see in Castle Oblivion that you wouldn't see anywhere else. But then you're in Traverse Town getting literally hunted by wizards. It's they're just shooting meteor balls at you, and there's giant I don't even remember what they're called, the wyverns. The wyvern, those things go pretty fast and can hunt you down, especially when you have a couple of wizards on you. And that's all she wrote. So it's really trying to push you to finish the game, because the world need a break. They need to get done with it. It's they can't. They're cracking or breaking at the seams. In a way, so there's a reason,
and I think you said it best there, and that's when I did it in my initial playthrough, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't look up playthroughs. I didn't necessarily know that was coming. So when I eventually, because I was just going through the story, I was doing my best to just kind of rush through each mission, play through the game, not really taking time to level up. And then all of a sudden it's boom, hey, now you have twice the difficulty in everywhere you go. Yeah. So I kind of got not soft locked, but I got kind of pushed back. I hit a lot of resistance, I should say, when that happened. And that's really, I guess, where my frustration lies with that. But I do agree that it plays into the story very well. And actually, I would like to backtrack a second and kind of describe for anybody who may not know even remotely what we're talking about, if you've never played this game, I'm trying to think a summary way to kind of not spoil anything yet, but describe what's going on in the game and what the hell the game even is. It's kind of like a hybrid, mix. It's where Final Fantasy and Disney meet. And essentially, I guess all of the princesses have been kidnapped by the organization. Carter, do you want to summarize this for me? Because I'm going to butcher this.
Yeah, it's hard not to like give any spoilers. There's a lot of metaphors in the story as well. Good and evil, light and dark kind of, stuff. But the one of the reasons why I really like the first game's story is because it was really just a story. It wasn't like, trying to put pieces back together, trying to fill in gaps in like, oh, this is why this happened. It's like there was stuff happening that Maleficent was trying to open the door to darkness and fill the worlds with darkness, and then that was kind of it. That was like the original, like issue or problem that the main character protagonists were trying to face. And with the manipulation that Maleficent does to Riku, it kind of just ties Sora into it by default, because he was originally supposed to be the Keyblade wielder, the master, but he fell to darkness. And then second runner-up is Sora, so he comes out of nowhere and has to fix everything that he sees his best friend ruining and working with the bad people and, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, the fact that it's like Disney and these new characters coming in, just showing a new story of, just new fresh characters. Like you spawn in, the islands, and you don't know that that's the world or the door to light. It's just kids on an island. They're just trying to live their best life, and they go to a little spot that's like off coast on a little small island that they raft to every day, and they hang out with their kids. They're 14-year-old, 15-year-old kids.
Life is simple
with some wicked construction skills.
It wasn't great. They made a somewhat okay raft, and then they almost got themselves killed very early on. Some would say that he did actually die there, but that's a whole conspiracy theory.
That's an interesting, actually I've never heard that theory. We can get into that later, or we can talk about that off air.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna have to have an entire section of this podcast just devoted to conspiracy theories now. I want to hear all of this.
That's an interesting take. Yeah, we'll definitely have to cross that bridge.
How dark is Kingdom Hearts? Really?
Yeah, and like all the enemies that you fight throughout the game, or at least your generic enemies, there's some form of, they're called Heartless, right?
Yeah. So they're husks, or I guess what's left over. The nobody is the husk. The Heartless is I guess what's left after the light has dissipated. I guess that's what they're trying to do. And then the light is like the heart of the person. So when the heart falls, darkness takes over, and it's left with just darkness. And the husk of the body of whoever it might have been is the nobody. But we don't learn that until 2. So.
Yeah, way to spoil the game.
No.
There could be so much other things that could be spoiled. We're trying to be careful, honestly.
I noticed that.
We'll branch off. We'll change the subject now. That's a good summary for kind of like essentially like what's going on with the game. I mean,
yeah. And I mean, I agree personally with Carter, right? With like what you're saying, right? The difficulty of it. I mean, I never really fully paid attention to that, but it makes sense that everything is once you get to that point, everything just gets worse, and yeah, okay, you know, you have to grind, and I mean every game really has a certain amount of grinding, and you've got that mechanic where it can be used bad or it can be used well, depending on how the developers put it in. And I mean, in this case, I think they did it pretty well, where you're going back to the different areas. There's a reason to go back. You know what I mean? It's there's a reason to go through it all again.
There's definitely a lot for this game for completion.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to butt in like that.
No, you're good. I was pretty much done. I was just kind of, you know, had to steal the limelight before you moved on. You know,
you're good.
My 5 minutes of fame.
I mean, I got two more gripes, but if you guys have anything about this game that you're not necessarily a huge fan of, jump on in and throw it out there now. Because otherwise, I definitely have one that Carter very, very, very briefly mentioned. That I'll definitely want to go off on for a minute. My
one gripe is that they didn't keep the original look of Sora. And he was supposed to be a little cat boy standing on two legs, you know, but he had, shaved sides on his hair. He had a crown. He had a tail. He had kind of like wolf hands, like almost looked like gauntlets. And they just took it away because I guess the real reasoning was Disney. My only understanding of it really is that Disney thought that it would take away from the Disney characters, given that they were such a huge part of the funding of the game, actually becoming a game. That, you know, some of the very early on concepts were just lost because it was just not something that Disney was looking to have in their game, quote unquote. Whatever
the mouse says goes.
I've
taken away
never known this.
Mickey
I'm looking
Mouse.
at it now.
Yeah, he had a saw like blade instead of a key. I missed that. That's one of my only gripes about the game is that we didn't get to see Cat Sora until later down the line, but wasn't what could have been, to be honest. That's kind of crazy. I honestly, I never knew that. That's I wonder how many people actually don't know that. Because as far as I can see here, I mean, I just Googled it. It looks like it really never made it past the storyboarding phase. Yeah.
I wonder if that was like, I wonder if that was Square Enix trying to do that design, or if it was Disney trying to do that design, and they were like, "No."
Well, it's probably was Square Enix trying to put in the original concept design, and then Disney shutting it down. Yeah, but I gotta say, looking at the early concept compared to the final design of Sora, I really like the early concept shoes and shoe size a lot better. Yeah. For the life of me, I never understood why everybody in the Final Fantasy games has such huge feet.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No, I don't understand it. It's
the character designer didn't know how to do feet, so he just found a picture online and was like, "Okay, this is good," and realized like 3/4 of the way through, "Oh shit, perspective."
Who knows? I still think that all the characters' looks are absolutely iconic, you know, and that's what they were going for. Yeah. You know, maybe they were trying to find something that, you know, they could land on that would really make them stand out instead of making just yet another generic JRPG looking character. But who knows? Or maybe, like, you know, if they just made it look like any other JRPG character, they wouldn't be able to differentiate, you know, Final Fantasy characters from Kingdom Hearts characters. Who knows? But no, that's a really great. Yeah, that's a good history lesson on the game. I actually never knew that.
Yeah, right.
Because I was gonna say my next gripe that you touched on very, very, very briefly was the gummy ship system.
Oh, buddy! Oh my God!
I don't get it. I've never gotten it. I don't like it. I've just always had you make my gummy ships for me because I just don't like it. I think it's a crap system personally, in the first game anyway. But thoughts?
Yeah, I see what they were going for. I understand what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't think they've ever pulled it off, by the
No.
way. But I understand what they're trying to do. Once you figure out how to make a ship, and really the only thing that I would just do, after the multiple playthroughs, is I would just get a Faragra or whatever it was, gummy block, which is the jets, the propulsion.
Okay.
And you just put as many as you can on the back so you can go as fast as possible. And you just drive fly as quickly as possible through space to get to the next world. Because, man, early on through those very slow sections of the gummy ship without teleporting and fast travel, it's not good. It's not good at all. Yeah.
My guy, at almost 30 years old, I don't like, I mean, I get it. Like, I can, see how to build it and whatever, but like, as a kid, that it broke me. Even as a teenager, like, it just didn't make sense. I've played Star Fox. I like the space combat aerial maneuvering, system that they had going on. It's very akin to the old Star Fox games. It is,
isn't it?
Yeah. Had they just given you a ship that could be, an iconic staple of the franchise, and just given you different challenges to overcome and complete with that particular ship, that would have been fine.
Yeah, you didn't have to control it. You didn't have to give that to the player.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, why did I have to build it? That's what I don't like about it. Because the building system that they had was very convoluted.
There's a lot of presets, a lot of blueprints that you can choose from.
That's true.
But I get it. So you as a kid, you see that there's the the classic red and yellow ship.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, that's really cool. And then you see, whoa, there's like a customization thing. It's like, whoa, I can make my own ship. And then you go into that section, and then you're just like, oh god, how do I get out? And then it literally traps you in there if you don't know where you're clicking.
Yeah.
Shout out to any nerds who get this. It's like Vim.
I
don't worry about it.
It's
don't
like
worry
Vim.
about it. It's like Vim. Don't listen. That's an entire section that we don't need to get into, because once you get into Vim, you can't get out. And that's like talking about Vim. Once you get into it, you can't get out. So I'm going to stop this now before we all go insane. I definitely agree. I definitely agree with the with everything about the system. It's one of those, as you're saying it, I'm realizing like why I dislike a lot of controller based games versus like PC games where it's like you have a mouse and keyboard, because that specific, if it was done on PC, that mechanic would be amazing, because it would be a lot easier to control. It would be a hell of a lot easier to control and do something with, versus trying to figure out, okay, what button do I have to press? How do I have to contort my hand? What knuckle do I have to break in order to properly control this damn system? So I'm with you. But yeah, no, it's the idea has potential.
The idea was neat. The idea was there. Like conceptually, I can see it, but the way that they implemented it, I couldn't tolerate. And like being 2023 now and seeing other games that have had that general influence or whatever, it's very much like the shipbuilding system in this game, and is very much a love child of, if you were to take Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts and Star Fox and put those two together. And so now you have to make a ship out of essentially Lego bricks and then fly it in a Star Fox-esque mission with goals. And it's like, that is probably one of the most primary things that keeps me from going back to this game more.
You're talking the ship, that
whole section, that whole, like the shipbuilding and the flying missions and whatever. Like, I like flying missions. I like games like Star Fox. The way that this game did it, I personally do not like. I mean, that being said, there's a lot about this game that I do like, and I would definitely like to move into some more of that. But if you guys have anything else you'd like to say about some gripes you have with the game or anything that might grind your gears, please say your piece.
Yeah, Carter, go ahead. Do you have any more?
No, I mean, I have just those two. I guess the gummy ship and the missed opportunity of Cat Sora, but that's it.
It would have been cool if they put in Cat Sora as like an end game unlockable.
Oh, like how they like with Tony Hawk's.
Yeah, exactly. For like a new game plus or something like that. Like if you, or even like, if any of you guys have ever played like the God of War games, like the early ones, every time you beat the game, depending on what difficulty you beat it on, you would unlock skins for Kratos. Like in God of War 2, I think you could play as a giant fish. It's just, silly shit like that. Like it would have been really cool if they had implemented something like that in this game. But with that being said, I think this is the perfect opportunity for us to start getting into some gripes.
I actually have I have one, right? And that's just like I have a few, but I'm not going to keep us going. Like I know obviously we want to move on, but I honestly, I don't know how you guys feel about it, and I'd love to hear your opinion. I personally hated the controls. I think that it's very like once you get used to them, it's fine, but like it's backwards for like everything else in like for like the modern gaming with a controller, you know what I mean? Like you're using X to attack instead of like square, and you're using O to jump. Like to me, it's like it's just so much different. And with I know when I was doing the Coliseum, like once you get to like the gold challenge and the platinum challenge. Actually, okay, never mind. Not the platinum challenge. I'm not dealing with Sephiroth. I'm just not dealing with him. Like it starting to have to use more potions, having to start to use more magic, and you have to actually go through the menu. Like that was such a pain. Like it's almost like to me, it just kind of pushed you away from wanting to actually do it and just kind of grind your way through to be like, okay, like Carter, never get hit.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean it is so the Japanese version of the game actually has X and O switched, which I prefer. I like that more than having X as attack. I'd rather have X as jump.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
It just makes sense for my brain. But I don't play that setup, the controller scheme every single time. A lot of the newer games have the ability to just switch that. But the first iteration of the game and the first PlayStation 2 disc version, it was again rough. So it's not like it was easy in any way, but I think that's a part of the charm that I like about it. Again, it kind of is a little Dark Souls-y in the first game. It's like you got to think about where you're going. You got to plan on using your potions correctly. You got to be watching the other enemy to make sure you're not running into the giant sword that, what is it, Metsumune? That Sephiroth is throwing at you.
Fuck Sephiroth. Just fuck Sephiroth.
It's, I think it's, kind of like Rob said, get good. It's a skill kind of gap, but not everyone is trying to do that in this game. They're gonna play on beginner or easy, and they're gonna just run through and I know what that Disney character is, and it's what's happening with these other characters that I don't know about, I've never seen before.
Right. Listen, stop calling me out, okay? Jeez.
Oh, and I mean, it's also, I think you gotta remember, I don't know, I forget what other game we were talking about. Where I brought up this point as well, but this is also towards the beginning of 3D action games of this type. So there was no standard for controls at the time.
Yeah.
So it was very much a wild west of game controls, especially for a genre like this that was still so new. Because I mean, we really didn't start seeing 3D action adventure games like this until this. Nothing, as far as I can recall, nothing played like this up until this point. I mean, even your Final Fantasies at the time were still, turn-based action, whatever. But so for them to make this game, they had to come up with something because there was no other game to go off of. There was no standard set. It's like, even look at the Skyrim games. I mean, they even in 2011, or Skyrim games, but the Elder Scrolls games, even in like
you
2011.
better fix that. You better change that.
But in 2011, at that time, we had a bit more of a standard up until then, but you still had to press Y to jump on a controller. It's like, that didn't make any sense. You had your action button, which was A, but I don't know. I could get into a whole tangent on that. But yeah, I mean, when did this game come out? 2002?
I think somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, this game comes out in 2002.
Hang on, look it up.
What other game around that time played or even had mechanics similar to this?
March 28th, 2002.
Yeah, that was a shot in the dark. But I mean, I think about 3D action adventure games back at that time, and I'm thinking like, Legend of Zelda, or Donkey Kong 64, which was a little earlier, but like Banjo-Tooie, games like of that nature. But the only game I would say, Zelda, Majora's Mask, is probably what plays closest to this at that time, because of the Z targeting and stuff like that. It is a long shot, but only because what's up?
I was gonna say, I think the camera and the movement very reminiscent of Pac-Man World Tour.
You know what? That's a
Pac-Man
good point. That's a good point. And also, this game was one of the first games like this that you actually had 2 joysticks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this was innovative as fuck for the time.
Yeah. I mean, and you can't like, I really want to knock the camera controls, because I can't tell you how many times I've been trying to like move the damn camera and it just gets stuck in the fucking wall. So I'm just sitting there like, okay, I need to attack this target. Can I move the camera so I can see the damn thing? Like, come on.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, you got to be gentle, because yes, it is very new for the time.
I'm not disagreeing with you, though. The controls are definitely fucking weird. It's just, you got, like, I pay respect to it as well. Like, I complain about it, but I will also pay respect where it's due, because they did what they had to do for the time. But that's just me.
They did what they made do with what they had.
Yeah. Let's start transitioning into some of the likes that we have about the game. But before we do that, I'm going to take a quick minute to, just take an intermission for a second. And all right, and we're back. So with that intermission out of the way, we are going to start getting into what we actually like about the game. And Carter, why don't you take it away? What's one thing about the game? What's like your favorite thing about the game?
What you got, Carter?
The first game. Because I could talk about other things about the story, but the first game is the presentation in the beginning. It's so just bland, and I like it being bland. You go into a world and you're like, I don't know anything. It's just these kids, and they're being kids. They're playing around. They're messing with each other.
The innocence of childhood.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's they're joking to each other about Paopu fruits, and it's a bigger thing in all in the actual story, but it's still something that's just small that you can just appreciate. It's a symbol, but it's not the biggest symbol in the grand scheme of it all. So just the little things that they bring up that are more important than you realize, but the way that they bring it up in the first game of it being just such a small little world, and it gets so much bigger is my favorite part. Yeah, I mean the friendship part of the Disney side of things, not my favorite part of the game. A lot of things about the Disney side I feel like we really could just go without, but the first game has that as like almost a requirement for the Disney side. And that's why I like it, because it's not dreadful in some later versions of the game, in my opinion, or different types of story story building aspects that just kind of leave you like, why did you have to do that?
That just doesn't feel like forced or like whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you don't have to explain yourself. You're just going through, some of the characters, and other than that, you're just watching Sora's story. It's not like what's happening to Mickey right now.
Yeah.
It's like who cares about what's happening to Mickey right now? It's like we know who Mickey is. He's on his steamboat. But I think that's the best part of the first game. Not the mechanics, it's not the Disney stuff. It's the new characters and how it's brought up. And you're just thrown into this world and you have nothing to start out with. And you just got to figure it out on your own,
Yeah. No, that's great. And yeah, I can 100% agree with that. Like, just the dynamic of the beginning of the game, like before any of the Disney stuff even gets introduced, just the atmosphere of the island, it's like, have you ever seen a sky so blue?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's honestly like I remember when I first started playing it was one of those, like, I did most of my grinding in that island because I didn't want to leave. It's like I knew that I think it was like, maybe it was my second playthrough or something like that. It was like I knew what was coming, and I knew it. What's interesting about it is the peacefulness, the blandness that you're talking about. It's almost too perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they made this atmosphere of it's too perfect. Why? What's going to happen? What's wrong?
Yeah.
It's like kind of how like with Majora's Mask, where it's like you're in the town and you just get out and it's like everything seems nice and fine, but you listen to the music and it's kind of like there's this underlying tone of, okay, something's going to go wrong. Like they did the same thing there just by presenting the scene. So I'm right there with you. It's like there's this innocence, but it's like, why is this so perfect?
Yeah.
And the reality is that it's because it's the door to light. It's the perfect, however you want to take that. It's the perfect world, and that's they do it well. they show it well so early on, and you don't know. And some people never realize either, unless they've played all the games. So,
Disney did an excellent job picking Square Enix for this, in my opinion. Just like the story writing of this, along with like it being Disney, I think they did I think it was a great choice in them choosing Square Enix.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true. I feel like there was a lot of clashing, but I think the end result of the first game was special.
Yeah. And I gotta say, like, one of the first things that I have written down for my likes to incorporate the idea of like, Square Enix and Disney, whatever, is just the level design.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like, I know even if there was a lot of clashing behind the scenes, I got to agree with Carter. The end result was fantastic because, I mean, just looking at any of the levels, whether it be the island in the beginning or, even like Atlantis and what else? Just everything. Traverse Town was beautiful. Wonderland was nice. The Olympus Coliseum was perfect. Just everything. Honestly, when I think about this game and like the level design, even though I'm not a huge fan of Christmas, that's one of the levels that jumps to mind right away.
Yeah, it was one of the first, costume switches.
Yeah,
that were that was actually a costume switch.
Yeah, and they make a whole thing out of it too.
Yeah, and it's a I think that's when the discrepancies of Square Enix and Disney started actually becoming manageable. Like they started to agree on stuff.
Oh, really?
In those later worlds, in my opinion. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's true, but it seems like that's how it was. The first world other than Traverse Town, which I do think Traverse Town is one of, if not the perfect world in that game, that you can actually walk around in. The Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland, that world is that typical trope of like tracing back your steps, but you're upside down. You're on the wall. You're like using your different spells that you have at the time, at least.
That was so cool. I agree.
Yeah.
It's repurposing a single room multiple different times.
Isn't that
It's like you're
amazing?
small
So
and you're
cool.
big, and
That's so cool.
And it's like it's not even like just for scenery's sake. Like they made it integral to it. Like you have to do this or else it's not going to make sense or you're not going to be able to finish this world. And honestly, I think the Alice in Wonderland world pissed me off the most. And I think that's actually the one where I needed Alex's help to kind of get this done because it just was it's an insane world. It's an insane world and it drives you insane because there's so much to it. I mean, unless I'm the only one that thinks that, but hey.
No, I got stuck on that level quite a bit because I don't remember why or what exactly stumped me, but I do remember seeing that there was something missing, and I kept having to go back to that world, and I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah.
That one got me for a while. It's been a while since I've played through the game, and I only really played through it, I think, once fully, like to completion. But that. I remember having issues with Wonderland myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, conceptually, it's such a cool level.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that first starting, I liked the fact that there was still stuff to do after the ending of the game.
Oh yeah.
There's so much that you can do. Sephiroth is a very basic, I think, a very easy one to see, and that there's multiple other bosses that you can go to. A lot of them are very difficult, and not even just the bosses. The Ultima Blade takes hours to get, and it's good. It's just kind of a show off.
You can soft lock yourself out of that, though.
Can you?
Yeah, if you start selling the Orichalcum.
Orichalcum and Orichalcum Plus.
Yeah.
Is that how you guys? I've always pronounced it Orichalcum.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I pronounce it? It was Orcalium, I think, because my dyslexic brain can't understand words and symbols. I just kind of said blah blah blah. Yeah, that's what that thing is called.
The O.
Yeah, the one with the O.
O and O plus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I accidentally sold like one or two on my playthrough, and it wasn't until Carter told me, he's like, "Oh, remember to save all this." I was like, "Well,
whoopsies,
not going back now."
We're committed at this point, boys.
I was like halfway through the game, and he's like, "Oh yeah, don't sell any of that." I'm like, well, fuck, never mind.
You don't need it. It's cool. It's just a flashy weapon.
It. Yeah, I beat the game without it just fine.
Yeah. What's cool about and I'm going to, because I'm a freaking Zelda fanboy. I mean, like you talking about the Ultima weapon. I mean, it's kind of the same thing as the big Goron sword where it's like, you don't need it, but like, it makes you feel so cool once you have it. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely just kind of, it's after like, you don't need to get it. It's just, it's cool. I don't know. That's me.
Yeah, it is the strongest weapon in the game, but there's other ones that you can use to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's more weapons that are just more meaningful to use than just the Ultima, because the Ultima is just, that it's just the best one.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just because as with anything Final Fantasy, there's always that, Ultima weapon to find.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the best one and it's the best. It's Ultima.
Whether you find it or you make it or whatever, there's Final Fantasy always has that one final weapon that's like, it's your big Goron sword.
Yes.
So
I was looking it up because I was going to start going into the Ultima sword, but then we kind of ran out of time. But I was looking into it, and apparently you can, in the final mix, you can make dark matter instead of just finding it. Like it's once you get through like all of the oh gosh, what are the? Come on, brain.
Yeah,
the combination. End. What's that?
The at World's End, or like the end of the game.
No, I'm not talking that. I'm talking the fusion, where you go to the
Moogle shop.
Yeah, the Moogle shop, right? You go there and you can actually you can combine things after you go through like the list of everything and you get all the different recipes completed. Like, and you can actually make dark matter apparently. I never actually got to that point, but hey, Google.
I'm pretty sure one of the O pluses, let's say, is you have to find every single synthesis item piece. And then when you find all of them and you hand them into Moogle or just like say, hey, I found this thing, I'm pretty sure it gives you one of them. I think that's one of the requirements to even be able to make the Ultima in the first game. I've done a lot of Ultima stuff, and
how many Orgy Calciums are there to collect in the game?
surprisingly, I'm pretty sure it's 13.
Origami
really? I thought it was
calculus.
more than that.
Yeah, I think it's just based off of the 7 lights and 13 darknesses.
Oh.
trope.
Okay,
Nifty.
makes sense.
Carter, you're a nerd, man. No, I'm just messing.
I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that.
This,
I thought there were more orgasm calculations to collect, but oh no, I think I'm thinking of the letters. There's a lot of letters to find.
The
Right.
letters.
letters?
It's right for the mailbox, right? Or no? Am I thinking
Oh,
something?
the letters. I thought you were talking about like a letter.
No.
Sesame Street? Rob, where are you right now?
I'm thinking about
Yeah.
the letter O.
You're talking about the postcards.
Yeah, the postcards. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on, Rob,
oh
get
my
with it.
gosh. Ugh.
Get your brain off of origami calculus, all right?
That's
All
one
right.
thing that I could like do without.
The postcards.
Yeah, the postcards weren't great. How
Yeah.
was I supposed to find that in the ceiling fan? How was I supposed to know to hit that in front of the 2 or whatever the 3 ducks?
Oh, yeah.
Huey, Louie, and Dewey.
Yeah.
Huey Lewis in the news. I think there's 3 major collectibles to find in the game, and it's the orgy calculations, the postcards, and the Dalmatians, right?
Yeah, Dalmatians is a big one.
Yeah, because I think what is it, 99 or 101?
101.
The movie, Rob. What's the movie?
47.
Oh, so close. Just
Shit.
so close. It's actually 312, dude. Come on.
Fuck.
But Carter, you got any more likes that you like? Likes that you like, yeah.
Likes that I like.
Likes
Yeah.
that you like. What do you like? Carter?
I always liked, because it made everyone mad, that you couldn't finish Monstro. It was just a half complete world.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's a half complete world. You never finished Monstro.
Really?
Yeah, in the first game, it's just half. And they would always see like screenshots online of being like, yeah, you can fully complete it, but I'm pretty sure you never were able to complete it. Even if you went into the Monstro the second time, which you could get that to actually pop up again, I don't think it ever fully finished the keyhole. Also,
No shit.
I always loved in this game the use of the summons, because the other games they're not useful. They're really not.
Really?
The only time that you would use summons is kind of just like for tech or for like speedrun uses. There is some other uses that are so niche in the other games that, like Dumbo in the second game. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent, but when you start the animation, it lifts you up, and there's actually like some spots where you can go over loading zones. Like it's like
Really?
just weird stuff like that. And the first game has no issues really that like break the game, and they're almost all useful. Like when you're fighting the big one of the big bads at the end of the game. Gosh, what is his name? He's the giant demon at the end.
You're talking at the final boss fight, or
It's one of the final boss fights. Gosh, I can't remember his name.
hang on a second. I just saw it. Hang on.
Big demon at End's world.
Oh God. Hang on.
It starts with an M. Like I don't know.
You're not talking. No, you're not talking Dark Side, right?
No, I'm not talking about that.
Ansem?
No, he's a literal giant heartless demon. But he's a character from from like old Disney, like black and white.
I see.
Disney.
I'm on the
Really?
wiki. I see Charnabog
Yeah,
Uh,
that's him.
or Chernabog.
Chernabog. Yeah,
Chernabog.
Chernabog is not a Kingdom Hearts character, but he's in the game, and he's a pretty tough battle. But the only way that you can really beat him is using Tinkerbell, because
Oh, I
she
remember
heals
this
you.
guy.
And you're flying around, you get pushed back by his wings, and it's a tough fight.
This is where the game took a real dark turn.
Yeah. It also you can't leave at that point.
Yeah.
You can't turn back. It's either you go or you quit the game because you're not a high enough level.
for
Nice.
the life of me, I do not remember this in the slightest.
That's okay. I remember you telling me to. Yeah, I remember. I'm pretty sure he was the one. Oh shit, that was. I'm pretty sure he was the one that you were telling me that I had to grind for because he was going to be an issue. And if Google is to be correct, I think he's actually a Disney character from Fantasia 2000.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
That's where it's from.
I remember him.
that makes sense.
No, I don't think I fought him in my playthrough though. When is this? When do you fight him?
It's after the save point when where all the worlds are broken at the end, like the last world.
Oh,
And you go
the
through
final
all
save.
so the final save where Pooh Bear is. There's a save point there. It's right before that is where that fight is.
Huh.
So that fight was incredibly easy for me.
Final mix. Final mix.
Because of final mix, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
There's
remember
more
that
air
fight all that
combos.
much. I remember struggling with Ansem a lot.
Yeah, he was a pain. That just the massive amount of like fights that you actually had to do. We should probably stop talking about this because that we're spoilers.
Well, I mean,
It's a 20-plus-year-old game.
yeah, honestly,
All right.
like I think that what we've said so far isn't really necessarily spoilers. I think that if we were to talk more about some of the earlier characters, player arcs or character arcs, that would probably have more of a spoiler.
I mean, there is a huge character in that last fight, and you don't even know who it is. Like the Ansem fight. I'm talking about the Ansem fight, and you have no idea that there's actually two important characters in that fight.
Oh,
I'm not going to say it.
Well, you know what?
I'll tell you guys later. But
let's actually start wrapping this up a little bit because we're running over an hour already, and I God, I really want to start making these a little bit shorter episodes, but
You're trying so hard.
I mean, I've already talked about pretty much everything that I like about the game, aside from the music, which I'm going to be putting some music into the podcast like I usually do because I don't make any money off this, and
Nice.
nobody's told me not to yet. So,
Hey Rob, don't.
what's that?
Hey Rob, don't.
Well, nobody important.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm
oh,
sorry.
you got me.
Nope, nobody that could send me a legitimate cease and desist letter. But yeah, well, I'm sure if I ever start running ads on this, then probably. But yeah, I mean, the music in this game I think is fantastic. But what else would you expect from a Square Enix and Disney collab?
Mhm.
Like the music for Traverse Town is iconic, I think.
Yeah.
But
It's an iconic world. I mean, it's like,
oh yeah,
that's a huge area.
it's your hub. It's where you always go back to.
Yeah. Where you
Yeah.
synthesize everything. It's
Yeah.
where you got your fast travel gummy book. Where you meet Leon.
Where you meet Sid.
Yeah, where you meet Sid. A lot of those characters are very important in the story, but
Yeah.
they're not very super important in the first game. But later down the line, they're still, one of the main characters there.
Disney and Square Enix were doing multiverse shit before multiverse shit was cool.
Yeah. And they were
They're
doing
the original.
the original Marvel
Yeah.
collab.
Yeah,
DC
really.
versus Marvel versus Disney.
Yeah, but I mean, if any of you guys have any other likes you want to throw out, I say we can start wrapping this up and put a little spoiler cast in and start talking about what Carter was just mentioning there.
I mean, personally, I like tacos.
I love
Only
time
thing I'll mention is look up Kyrie glitch.
Is that something
Kyrie?
you like?
It's
I don't
one of the
know.
only glitches in the games.
Really?
That's an actual glitch, and it's Sora just being an idiot in a void, throwing his keyblade. Because you roll, or you, it's a dodge roll before you talk to Kyrie in Hollow Bastion. If you roll and then he kind of like jumps a little bit after the roll is finished, that's when you know that the cutscene glitch is happening. So
Really?
Kyrie cutscene glitch is good. I love that.
I'll have to look that up after we're done.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's just to kind of keep us on track here. Unless you had something else you wanted to say, Rob.
no, I'm good.
All right. I'm just like, as far as like a like for me, and it's kind of, you already pretty much touched on it, Carter, is the enemies, and just all of them, like, they can be pains in the ass, or they can at the very least like add to the world. Like there's so much to them. I mean, I had in my gripes the large bodies, just because you can't attack them from the front, so it's like you fight them. It's not that they're hard enemies. I'm sorry, hang on one second. Sorry, I didn't want to like keep coughing in the mic.
No, you're good.
But it's not that they're hard enemies, but like the fact that they keep facing you, so it's like you can't hit them head on. Like you have to jump over them to hit them in the head in order to like actually finish them off. It's like they made these enemies really well, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like
They all have a meaning too. They're kind of like how Pokemon has the like little blurb as to what the Pokemon does, or like why they have electrical power or something like that. There is a journal that Jiminy has that you can go through, and you can see a little bit of tidbits as to why they are, and what they are.
I'm gonna have to go
And
through that.
Why certain Heartless come from certain people.
Huh.
That's why Sora has an anti-form.
Oh,
That's interesting.
are the
I
large bodies because of fat people?
don't know. I don't remember the exact ones, but there's some dark stuff, dark, gritty, like reasons why some Heartless are what, and like what their actions or like attacks are like meaning. Yeah, a little scary stuff for a 14-year-old kid with a giant key to be dealing with.
It's nuts because it's Disney, right? It's just, it's happiness and it's joy and it's, oh, wow, it's wonder. And then you've got this dark side to it. Oh, man, you're putting so much into this game.
Chernobog was also Disney.
Oh, good point.
I just think he needs a Snickers.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Hansel needs a Snickers for sure.
Sephiroth needs to just go fuck himself.
Yeah.
But I could talk about this all day.
Oh yeah. And eventually, when we do Kingdom Hearts 2 episode, inevitably down the line, you'll definitely be on again.
Cool.
Oh yeah. When we do Dark Souls 2, you're definitely here.
Yeah, Carter's on the lineup to do a few different games, definitely. For sure, Kingdom Hearts 2, any Kingdom Hearts, honestly. And then if we ever do touch on a RuneScape episode, he's going to be on that too.
Heck yeah.
So that's
The world of Gillinor.
There's so much I don't know about that game.
About RuneScape?
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, we'll talk about that later. But for now, let's start wrapping this up a little bit and put in a little bit of a spoiler cast. So spoiler cast. I mean, there's not really a lot I personally want to say on the story, because just go play it. The game is 21 years old at this point. It's out there. It's been re-released so many times. And if you have any PlayStation console, you can play it pretty much, except PS1. But if you're still playing on a PS1, what are you doing? So yeah, I mean, just go.
Person, Rob. Don't
you are an awesome person, and you're sitting on a gold mine, probably. Especially if you're sitting on a PS1 that can play this game.
Right.
I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's made for it.
They're playing Kingdom Hearts 0.5.
Yeah, 0.5.
Yeah,
Which,
right.
with the naming scheme, I mean, that might actually make sense. They might re-release a game like a 0.5 for PS1.
Dude.
Yeah, well, if anyone listening wants to play the game, play the Final Mix. Play in the beginning when you get to choose what you want to keep and take away. Pick magic, keep magic, take away defense. Just trust me. It's the best way to get the best abilities. It's going to help you down the long run. It'll give you a cure faster. Just listen to that.
Do it for your own sanity.
Yeah.
And don't don't enter Chernobog without being a certain level.
Yeah, like 60 plus. I think I was at like 45 when starting that world the first time around, and I was stuck on that boss for a very long time.
I think that's honestly the only way in this game that you can really soft lock yourself.
Should I not tell you guys that I beat Chernobog at like level 55?
You're on Final Mix. That's all I have to say.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have a lot I want to say about the story. With this spoiler cast being active right now, I mean, obviously, if anybody doesn't want to hear what we're about to say about the final boss fight, skip ahead.
Or not. To share what the real big difference is on the last boss fight. I can, but it might not just mean anything to you guys either. It might just be
hear
a select few. So if you don't want to know this, leave now. But
hang on. No, I'm just kidding. Go for it.
It's so Ansem at the end of the game, the two fights, you're fighting him and you're fighting a little darkness guy that's right behind him. His name is Guardian. He yells, Guardian, and it comes up in front of him, and you can't attack Ansem for a good amount of time. So it's pretty clear as to who I'm talking about. That is one of the 7 Keyblade wielders of light. That is fallen into darkness. And that is Terra. Terra is one of the, if not the strongest Keyblade masters in the whole series at this time. The fact that he's so connected to the darkness and eventually gets out of his strife just makes him an even more powerful individual, kind of like how Riku is very strong given that he can still use Dark Aura and stuff like that. He is definitely the strongest of them, and
you're talking Terra.
Yeah, Terra. Terra is, it's crazy to think that he has been there the whole time. Another reason why I love the first game is, again, it's like you start the game and you don't know where you are, and it's just so new and it's so innocent. Everything in that game, every little bit is just a more meaningful issue that doesn't come up until later series. And Terra being that Guardian is the coolest thing, I think, in the first game without really knowing that he's really there. So
yeah, and I mean, you can really see how they were like, knowing that now, you can really see how even in the first game, like, they had a plan.
Yeah.
Like, they had a storyboard to be unveiled over the course of many games.
That's why Ansem looks like Terra.
Huh. I gotta play the rest of these games.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, man, Carter, I'm so glad you're here, because it's like this is pushing me to want to play the other games more. Like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
If you guys have another Kingdom Hearts 2 or another podcast that has 2, has 3, has Chain of Memories, I can answer pretty much all of them. Maybe not Recode.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll do them all. At least the mainline entries.
Yeah.
Because this isn't one of those game series that you can kind of bundle all of the games into one. Like, we could honestly talk about all the Tony Hawks probably in like one episode, or like, at least bundle the Undergrounds together, the Pro Skaters together. But like, you can't do that with Kingdom Hearts. I mean, we've been talking about Kingdom Hearts for an hour and 15 minutes already, minus some intermissions and whatever. But like, there's a lot to these games, and there's a lot we haven't touched on. I mean, we didn't even really touch the music. We didn't touch, the other, partners you can have in the game, or really, we didn't even talk about the levels. I mean, there's so much we didn't even cover, but the game is, as Carter said earlier, and as I tend to say, the game is extremely charming. The level design is top notch, especially for the time. But
Top-notchingly charming.
yeah,
It's a journey.
it is.
It's an actual journey.
Yeah.
It really is. And you're going through so many staple locations, especially like of Disney worlds. And if you're a Disney fan, especially with, the 90s movies and like Peter Pan, Tarzan, Hercules, whatever, even the earlier movies, Pinocchio, whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to love it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't played the game, I highly recommend you go do it. And just enjoy it. There's so many spin-offs and sequels and fractions and
358/2s and
yeah. Jesus
I like that one
Christ.
so much.
But yeah, if you haven't played the game by now, I recommend you do it. And I mean, with that being said, like I'm okay with wrapping this up now, throwing a rating on it, and getting out of here. What do you guys say?
I'm pretty much set. I mean, I'm just to kind of hear myself talk. I guess like you said, it's a journey. I mean, and I said it before. You're making me want to play more of these games because there's a lot of them. The only one I really played was one. And like it just now, like what you're saying about how even in the first game, there being so much additional content that you don't even understand is there just by playing the first. Like, oh my gosh, this is what I like live for. When there's deeper meaning to stuff, I love it. I love it. It's. Oh, I'm playing more of these games.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'm giving a rating of 9 overall. 9 out of 10 metal chocobo keyblades.
Chocobo keyblades? Okay.
Yeah, you don't know metal chocobo? So it's like the coolest keyblade.
No, actually, I don't know. I don't know if I do.
Look up, all right, kids, look up metal chocobo keyblade.
Okay, hold on.
Hang tight.
Yeah, and as as a special guest, I always do throw the rating like scale to you. So I'm super glad you had one in the chamber. Oh shit, that's a thick boy.
Oh yeah. Best
Oh
keyblade.
yeah. I remember that one.
That's okay. I like that. All right, so you gave it 9 out of 10 metal chocobo keyblades.
Yep.
All right, that's a good score. That's a high score. I know that this game definitely has a lot of sentimental value to you, and like I probably wouldn't be as much of a fan of these games if it wasn't for knowing you for over 20 years. But yeah, no, I could definitely see it holding that
Might be
rating.
the highest rating out of all the games, but I think it deserves it.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Really good.
Well, we will cross that bridge in future episodes when we review inevitably Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 and maybe the rest. I'm not sure.
The other 10.
Yeah. So Fred, what out of 10 metal chocobo keyblades, what are you going to give this game?
Oh my gosh. So starting off, like before we went into this podcast, I was probably going to give it like an 8 because of like it's an amazing game, right? Pure and simple. Just playing the first one, it's an amazing game. But after talking to Carter, like it just threw it. I felt myself going, okay, 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5. Like so honestly, I think I'm gonna stick with like 9.5 because like I said, just the amount of depth now that I understand is going to be in these games and like what I don't know and I want to know, like that to me drives these games, and it drives what I love in like anything. If there's deeper meaning to something that I can kind of pick apart and find and just kind of investigate, that is my jam.
You're in the right place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Thank you. You seriously, thank you. You've shown me a world. It's a whole new
Oh God.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely sticking to that 9.5. And I mean, it's the amount of content, the amount of replayability of this. You know what I mean? Like, you can finish the game and still go back and like you've got all of these, like you said, all of these the sub bosses that you can find, all of these quests that you can go on. There's so much that you miss out on if you just play it straight through, and like you kind of know it's there, but it's like, all right, I want to go back and play more of this. So yeah, 9.5.
All right, it's a
Very
good
cool.
score.
Yeah.
I unfortunately I won't be as generous with it.
Boo.
Well, I can't give it a perfect rating because I do have some gripes with it. I have some issues with it, but you know that I've aired those grievances. I think I'm going to give it an 8.5. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10 Metal Chocobo Keyblades. The things that take away from me, or you know, from the rating for me, is the gummy ship system for one. Definitely, I see what they were trying to do. I don't think they did it well, personally. I mean, I think for the time it was especially it was innovative, but I think that they were trying to take or copy or at least be inspired by a game mechanic that was already done much better with Star Fox, and they were trying to find a way to enhance it with the ship customization, and I just don't think I think they missed the mark personally. The only other thing that I can really say that takes away from the score for me is the ability to soft lock yourself towards the end of the game with the Chernobog fight. The fact that when you enter that world, if you don't get through that world, you can't go back. That I see as a big problem, especially from the viewpoint of game developer. You can't do that to your audience. Like, this is a long game, and to have them go through 80% of it only to be soft locked if they're not a high enough level to get through that fight, that's a problem. But aside from that, yeah, I think the game is really charming. It's a lot of fun. The music is great. The environments are fantastic. The outfits are fun. Mm-hmm. You know, the weapons are great. You know, the dialogue can be a little bit corny at times, but it's part of the charm.
Yeah, it's a Disney game, you know?
Yeah, it's, you know, I would love to say it's made for kids, but I mean, I don't know how much I could really say that. But it's a great game. If you haven't played it, check it out. If it's not your cup of tea, I totally get why. But the three of us in this chat, we all love the game for one reason or another. It definitely ranks pretty high between the three of us. So can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, definitely. Go out and play Dark Souls.
Yeah, this is like 2002 Dark Souls, Disney Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
It's kind of what it is.
Disney
Yeah,
Dark Souls.
I like that.
But all right.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that just about wraps it up. So
Thanks for having me.
dude,
Rob,
you've been a fantastic guest. I really appreciate all your input, and I'll definitely be having you on the show again.
Carter, you're definitely knowledgeable about all of this stuff, and it's really cool having you on here, man. Thank you for joining.
Thank you both.
Rob, tell our audience where they can find us for social media and whatnot.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you care to give us a follow, which we'd all really appreciate, you can find us on Instagram at The Bards of Gaming, or you can find us on X or Twitter at 2 Bards of Gaming with the number 2. If you guys put any input, you know, give us any feedback, comments, show us some love, whatever, I'll do my best to give you guys a shout out on the show next episode. So I apologize if anybody saw my late post today about this episode. We didn't know that we were going to be recording tonight, as it's November 14th. But if you comment on that post, unfortunately, we're making the recording now. I might not have time to shout you out, but we'll see. So yeah, with that being said, that's where you can find us, and we'd love to hear from you. So
Definitely.
Give us a rating, give us some comments, give us some love, and we'll shout you out.
Good stuff, man.
Yep.
Peace.
And as always, right, if no one's told you this today, I appreciate you.
They have it. Thank you.
I love you, Rob.
I love you too, man. Stay hydrated. Later.
Peace.
Peace.